Welcome to Wreckham. That could be a new intro. Welcome to Wreckham. Through a series of events, as you know, I built a few engines. So I've ended up with a blacktop 20 valve. Now, this motor was about sort of three motors at one point. There was a guy who had a blown head gasket, I think, but then he bought a new head. So I ended up with his old head, which I repaired, had machined and everything. So I got a head. Had another one that had another issue, ended up with a block, and another one, I think I had a crank. So long story short, I've ended up with a blacktop. Now, new rings, new bearings, new timing kit, all up it owed me a bit of time and probably, I don't know, $300. And then obviously I've gone and put just some trumpets on it. I think they're old, maybe old SQ trumpets. SQ rear-wheel drive water kit. There's a bit of it. There should be another bit back there. Just the bits to make it rear-wheel drive. Relocator kit that was on it's another SQ kit, but I got that off Marketplace cheap. It was on a Suzuki Stockman or Sierra or something. Had headers and whatnot, and then because of course I've converted the red road car, which I always reference, and it is red, it's under that, back to a full just standard car. I put T50 and everything back in that. I've ended up with the old spare W box, and I've got a couple of them, but that's got a conversion on it, and a spare diff, MX-13 F-Series diff. So all this stuff is in my way. So of course, instead of working on that, like I probably should have for the last 7 years, I'm gonna get this stuff out of the way in a more creative manner than just throwing it out or selling it. So here we go. Yeah, sometimes I make myself wonder as well, but here it is. So as you can tell, AE86, yep, who would have guessed it? Now, it's seen some shit over its time, which is a shame, because so, long story short, I bought this thing off Braden. Braids, if you're watching, thanks mate. Now, he was paying an exorbitant amount of money to have this stored in a shipping container at his mate's storage yard. And in the end, it owed him way more than what it was probably worth. I looked at it once in the dark and thought, nah, not for me, too much work. And then he sort of came back to me and said, what will you give me for it? And I said, well, struts and everything are probably worth this much, so I'll give you that much, because the rest realistically needs to go to scrap. And to be honest, I went and got it, and I never looked at it. I only ever saw it in the dark on this side, which is obviously pretty bad, as you can tell. Now the thing was, I pushed it off the trailer and never looked at this side. Pushed it up against the fence, put a cover on it, and it's actually okay on this side. No, it's not perfect. It's got rust and it's got dents, but this side, and probably only in this position, is actually not bad. We had Mez's car here, and it had a big hit here and a bit of rust here. And Kiwi said to me, oh, I'd prefer to replace that section. So I said, yep, go cut it out of this shell. The thing's, if it's there, if it's any good, the shell's stuffed anyway. And he went and had a look at it and he said, are you sure this shell's stuffed? And I said, better not cut that out. But, you know, realistically, other than that corner, the front was already cut out of it. Not sure why, because the rails actually don't look like they've had a hit, but unless that's been replaced maybe. But yeah, the upper rad support was cut out and the front was cut out already, and it's just generally got quite a bit of rust in quite a few areas. So In my mind, yeah, you could save it, but I'm not gonna. Go on, say it. So as you can tell, it's just been used as a bit of a storage facility for a few years. Everything that was also in here is now sitting on my trailer. So I have to deal with that. Now, why? Well, as I said, I've got those parts that I need to get out of the way. And then why an AE86? Could be saving it, yeah, probably could, but I did build a KE70. Basically the idea is that car is just, it's just a nice, neat street car. I don't want to take it to the track anymore. It's just straight good. The beige car is beaten up. It's a perfect track car, but the problem is it costs me probably, every time that car goes in the trailer to go to the track, it's, I don't know, $1,500 in tyres minimum. So it's a great car to drive and a great comp car, but realistically I need a practice car, and that thing's just too expensive to run at a lot of practice days. So I figured I'd build another practice car. I actually built a KE70, which was a good car, 4AGE, few trinkets. Problem I had with it was that if I took it to, say, Calder and tagged a wall, busted a tail light, I'd have to go and buy a KE70 tail light. I don't have them, whereas because I've been driving the beige car in comps for so many years, I've got heaps of tail lights that are cracked or missing like a section of lens that still work, they just don't present well. And of course, being an AE86 owner, I can't bring myself to throw them out. So I've just got boxes of lights. Most of those doors are good, but again, you know, here's a door that came off the beige car last week. Still operates, still works. I'll kick most of that dint out. So I've got these parts that are just, you know, hanging around that fit AE86, so I might as well just build an AE86. I'm hoping to have the whole thing owe me very little. I'm not going to put a number on it, that way when someone wants to buy it I can shaft them. Yeah, it's got to owe me at least $30. Right, first job. I needed to get some stuff out of the way, obviously, other than the stuff I already explained. So had that door sitting over there, figured get that off the ground, put it on the car. But of course, there's a bit of an alignment issue. So won't quite close because obviously the receiver and that thing, there you go, that's about where it's hitting. Either the door's bent, which I can tell you it is, or the car's bent, or maybe just sagging, or the hinges are bent. So I've actually got a special tool I use just to get this alignment right with the door. Just move that in, move this back a bit. Oh, it doesn't want to stay, that's good. I'll have to hold it there. Just a bit of precision. Yeah, it's looking good. Yeah, it's looking pretty good. Go down at that. How are we looking? Well, it's not bad. I reckon if we give that a just a gentle, beautiful. Got to be some sort of joke here. So, as you've just seen, I've set the motor in. I don't usually use the hoist as an engine crane, but got to move a few trailers to get the crane in here. I really couldn't be bothered, so I just slung it up on the hoist arm, moved that across and put it in. Didn't put it in with a gearbox on. I'll get into that, why I didn't do that in a second, but obviously very easy to do, especially considering there's no front on this car. So I've just sat it in there for now. It's still loose, but just wanted it, like I said, out of the way so I can start getting the gearbox ready. Now, what I'm getting at is basically, this is the gearbox that was in my red car. It's a W55. You know, it's been a good box, it's in good condition. And I've also got somewhere here, yeah, W58. So basically I want to save both of them for a future project, or one of them, and have the other one as a spare. Making very similar gearboxes, slightly different ratios, but pretty negligible for what I want to do. So I've actually also got this. It's a G52, so it's a two-wheel drive Hilux gearbox from late 80s, early 90s. So I think it would have been behind a 22 RE originally. Should be the same as what they call the W57 ratio wise. So 57, 56, 56 maybe, yeah. I believe, and I'm soon to find out, that this pattern here, where I've got to put my adapter, my SQT50 to W box adapter onto there, should be the same as W. They are a little bit different through the guts. They're a bit wider, but and then the shift is slightly different, but it should all work. And it's actually a less desirable gearbox than the 55 or the 58, at least in my mind. And they do have, I believe, I've been told, and it's on good authority, that they've actually got weaker gears. They're slightly narrower gears, but I figured I'd save the 58 and the 55 for a future project that'll be making a fair bit more power than this thing, and put the 56 or G52 behind the standard blacktop, because realistically it'll be more than it needs. So yeah, might as well just use it with this. This is just a standard blacktop with a rebuild and slightly higher comp. It's had the head shaved down a bit and 0.8 TRD head gasket put in it. So that'll be fine. We'll get that in there and bolt it all up.
Cause real bad boys move in silence.